to Read Along with Alane. We are reading from The Blue Witch, but before we get started, this week I'm doing a shout out to all the schools and teachers that I've met over the last few months, and I wear a t-shirt to represent all the places that I've been to. Now, this teacher is representing New York City, so if you are in New York City, I'm giving out a big shout out and hi to you. I visited New York last month, and I had breakfast with like 8-9 teachers that really want me to come to their school, but I couldn't make it to the school that trip, so instead we had breakfast. So guys, I'm giving a big hello and shout out to you. I hope you guys are well and healthy and happy right now. So we are going to pick up from where we left off yesterday. Now yesterday we read chapter 5, and poor Abigail was in a little bit of trouble, am I right? Because she'd been out running in the swamps and that nasty Indera tattled on her, and she had to face Madame Hystera in the High Witch Council, and she's being punished. She's not allowed to go anywhere after school. She has detention, right? So now we're going to jump to chapter 6, and this chapter is going to focus on Hugo and what he's going through on his school day, all right? Here we go. Black banners flapped in the parapets of the Balfin School for Boys, a cheerless building built out of weathered gray stone. From the inner courtyard came the staccato sounds of students marching in rhythm. They were always practicing drills to become soldiers. There wasn't much else for a boy to do when he came of age but join the Black Guard, the witches' private army. It was that or become a blacksmith and make armor for the Black Guard, or work in the stables and tend the horses for the Black Guard. Only a select few became part of the Balfin Council, eligible as consorts for the witches. Hugo had never understood why the witches needed such a big army. There hadn't been a war in centuries. He hurried around to the rear of the building and lifted the root cellar door. Eminor bragged he snuck in and out this way whenever he ditched school. The wooden steps creaked loudly as he climbed down. The cellar smelled earthy and slightly rotten. Bins of vegetables were stacked up on the dirt floor. As Hugo pulled the trap door shut, a voice spoke in the shadows. "Give it back." Hugo turned. Eminor pushed himself off the wall, stalking toward him. His brother was tall and lanky. Dark hair fell over his forehead, hiding his eyes. Hugo tugged the medallion out of his pocket and dropped it into Eminor's hand. The older boy rubbed it with his fingers, and his lip curled in anger. "You used it, you little turnip!" He grabbed Hugo, slamming him back against the wall. "Who said you could use my magic?" "I'm sorry. It's just I wanted to see how magic works, and there was this witch battle." "Witch battle? With who?" "A witchling named Indera." Eminor stepped back, looking frightened. "You used magic against Indera Tarkana? Have you lost your mind?" "What's wrong?" "Indera Tarkana is the daughter of a high witch." "So?" "Don't you know anything about the witches? A high witch is powerful, more powerful than you can imagine. We have to destroy this or she'll track it back to me." Eminor threw the medallion against the stone floor. There was a flash of green, and then it shattered into pieces. He took Hugo by his collar and shook him. "You owe me another medallion, you hear me? Soon, or I'll be giving you a beating every day until you make it right." Shoving him aside, Eminor stomped up the set of stairs that led into the school. Hugo leaned back against the cold bricks, trying to slow his heart down. He had never seen Eminor this mad before. His brother liked to boss him around, but deep down he was usually an okay brother. How was he going to get another magical medallion? Maybe Abigail would give him one if he explained why he needed it. Hugo slowly followed Eminor up the stairs, ducking out the small door that opened into a corner of the busy kitchen and slipping out into the main hall. It was passing period, so the halls were crowded with boys. He hurried into his ancient history class. Professor Oakes was one of Hugo's favorite teachers and came from a high-ranking family. Like many of the Balfin elite, he kept his head clean-shaven and wore long black robes. As Oakes droned on about long-ago witches, Hugo doodled on his paper. He drew the muscled shoulders of the beast, its broad head and slanted eyes. Hugo read a lot, so he knew just about everything there was to know about the animals on Balfour Island, but he had never seen a creature like this before. "Can anyone tell me why there are no he-witches left today? Mr. Soppermill?" Hugo set his pencil down. "A he-witch named Rubicus tried to show Odin he was more powerful, so he cursed the sun to poison the land. It nearly destroyed Midgard, the realm of man. Odin had to cut off Rubicus's head to stop the curse." Professor Oakes raised his eyebrows in surprise. "You've done your homework, but how did that lead to no more little he-witches?" Hugo knew the answer well. Odin was so angry at what Rubicus had done, he cursed the witches to never have sons again. Oakes nodded in approval. "But do you know what the Rubicus prophecy says?" Hugo shook his head. There hadn't been anything in the books about a prophecy. "Allow me to tell the story." Oakes opened a tattered old book and began to read from it. "As the red sun burned like a blazing torch, Odin raised his mighty sword, terrifying, over the head of Rubicus. 'I take no pleasure in ending your life,' said Odin, 'but you went too far this time.' Then Rubicus vowed, 'You may take my head and end my life, but one day I will be avenged. A son of mine will destroy all that you have built.' Odin became so enraged, he swore a curse. 'Then never again shall a witch bear a male child.'" "What did Rubicus do?" a boy up front asked. He laughed. Then he challenged Odin. "Mark my words, not even a god as powerful as you can control the fates. One day, a daughter of my daughter's daughter will break the curse and bear a son to take my vengeance." Oakes snapped the book shut. "And bring war to Orkney." The room was silent, and then Hugo raised his hand. "So his fate is not his to choose?" he asked. Oakes frowned. "What do you mean?" Hugo shrugged. "It just doesn't seem fair. I mean, what if this boy doesn't want to take vengeance and start a war?" Oakes smiled. "He'll be a witch. Of course he'll want to go to war. It's in their blood." "How come us Balfins don't have any magic?" a sullen boy named Gregor asked. A fringe of dark hair lined his brow. "Why do we have to serve the witches?" "You think we are so powerless?" Oakes asked. Gregor shrugged. "They're always bossing my dad around. He sews dresses for them, but he's not even allowed to speak when he's fitting them." The professor paced in front of the class. "Think of the witches as a stallion. An animal powerful enough to stomp the life out of a small boy like you. Yet a trained stallion is easily controlled with just a touch of the reins." He stopped in front of Gregor. We Balfins know how to guide the witches without them even knowing it. Now Gregor looked confused. How do we do that? We train in their arts, we know their spells and their potions, and we are given tokens with their magic. From inside his robes, he withdrew a heavy medallion, twice as large as Eminor's. He twitched it side to side and muttered under his breath. As the boys oohed, Gregor floated up out of his seat, waving his arms wildly. You think a witch is the only one who can learn to use magic? Oakes whipped the medallion back under his robe, and Gregor dropped into his seat. Never forget, young Gregor, the witches, though powerful, are few in number. The Balfin are many. Together, we are an unstoppable force. What good is an army when there isn't a war? Hugo asked. Oakes laughed. My boy, the witches will never give up on their quest to rule Orkney. There is always a war in the works. This one just hasn't started yet. Class dismissed. Hugo, a word please. Hugo put his books into his bag. Was he about to get into trouble for missing morning classes? But Oakes pointed at the drawing on his desk. Where did you see a Viking? Viking? Yes, something the witches conjured up years ago. Created quite a stir. There was even rumor it killed one of their own before they destroyed it. How did you come to draw one? I'm not sure. I must have seen it in a book. Oakes leaned in. Because if there was a Viking loose on this island, you would tell me, wouldn't you, Hugo? The professor's eyes were suddenly keen, staring into Hugo's. Hugo nodded, crossing his fingers under the desk as he did. Oh, that's the end of chapter 6. That was a really fun chapter. All right, so what did we learn? Let's recap, shall we? Chapter 6, he gets into school, he sneaks in no problem, but he runs into his brother Eminor, who's really mad at him, right? Because he stole his medallion and he used it to get away from Indera when he and Abigail ran off. So he gives it back, and now Eminor's really mad because he used it against Indera, which means he had to destroy it. So that wasn't good. And now he's got to get another one for him. So I don't know how he's going to do that. And then he goes to class, and Oakes is talking all about Rubicus, who was an ancient witch who caused this bad thing called the Red Sun. And there's this whole prophecy why the witches can't have any boy witches, there's only girls. And then he says, you know what? Oh, he says we're not so powerless. We have these medallions, and we can do things too, like the witches. And then he draws a picture, and Oakes is really curious about the picture he draws. And he says, where did you see a Viking? Viking, that's a new word for us, Viking, right? It's the name of the creature that Hugo drew, and he doesn't know what one is, but he pretends like maybe he saw it in a book or something. So we're going to learn more about that, I'm expecting. So guys, that's it for today. Tomorrow, come back, and we will pick up with chapter 7, and a shout out to another school. I'm going to find some more t-shirts to wear. All right, so I'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, stay healthy, stay well, do the worksheets, click the link in the paragraph below the description of the video. Get outside if you can, have some fun, be healthy, be happy, stay well, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow, all right?